Good evening and welcome to the Mount Clemens City Commission meeting of Monday, August 3rd. We'll call this meeting to order. Everyone, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Campbell?
Here.
Fournier?
Here.
Hammond?
Here.
Crop?
Here.
Menser? Menser?
Uh-oh.
Here.
Voorhees?
Here.
Thank you. Agenda item 4, announcements, acknowledgements, communications, and reports. We have a report about our strategic planning. Mr. Johnson, do you want to talk about that?
What you have before you is a report prepared by the moderator, Pat Piskalich from Oakland University, on what we got through at the first meeting. We do have a second meeting scheduled for this Friday. We'll also be, for the commissioners at least, at the community center at 8:30 on Friday. With the new governor's order, we're considering whether we're going to try to do this just like the last one, or whether we're going to leave staff and the public on Zoom and only have the commissioners there in person.
When will we have that announcements for the public, when they can how they can participate in this last planning session?
We'll have that out by Wednesday morning.
Okay, excellent. Very good. All right, agenda item number 5, adoption of the agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll move that we approve the agenda as printed.
Thank you. Commissioner Voorhees with the motion, and did I hear Commissioner Hammond with the support?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Campbell?
Yes.
Fournier?
Yes.
Hammond?
Yes.
Crop?
Yes.
Menser?
Yes.
Voorhees?
Yes.
Thank you. This is the portion of the meeting where we have public participation. Considering it's a Zoom meeting, it's a little bit more complicated. So we ask that anyone at this time who would like to participate, give us your first name. When we call on you, we'll ask for your full name. We will ask that you abide by our 3-minute rule and give us your address. Sorry about that. Is there anyone who would like to participate today? I'll take your first name to put you in line.
George.
Okay. Anyone else?
Mike.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we're gonna go ahead and start with George. George, can you give us your full name, your address, and of course, abide by our 3-minute rule?
Thank you, Mayor Crop. It's George Kale, 180 Grand Ave. I trust everyone is doing well. And again, I appreciate the efforts that the city and its administration is making in these challenging times that we're all faced with. I'd like to propose a potential opportunity for the city of Mount Clemens. I've discussed this with the mayor previously. I did mention it a little bit to our newly found city manager, and perhaps where we could establish the city of Mount Clemens COVID-19 Economic Recovery Task Force. This would be something we could do as a community to show any business owners and other communities our ability and efforts to create an environment that will be top notch as we come out of this new normal that we're all living in. I was trying to get this to you guys a little sooner, but as fate would have it, other difficulties presented itself. So it took me till today to present this. Recently, I noticed that the state of Michigan recently has also created a new department. It's called the COVID Workplace Safety Director within the state of Michigan, to make sure that business owners are compliant with all of the new rules and regulations that we're going to have to adhere to. So with that being said, some of the preliminary members that would like to volunteer for this task force would be, for instance, Gabe Anton, who affectionately was known as Mr. Mount Clemens over the years. I've reached out to him even prior to the COVID challenge to do what we could to not only revitalize the downtown, but to, if you will, put Mount Clemens back on the map. Also, Jim George, the owner of Gibraltar Trade Center, has expressed an interest. Craig Jones, the owner of Performance Floor over at the old Buick Mitchell building that was kitty corner to the Hayloft, has expressed an interest. And this truly would be a joint public and private venture to move forward. Perhaps on the city side, we could have the Assistant City Manager, Jeff Wood, with us on the force. Just an idea that we'll present to you in a more formal application in the next couple of weeks to, again, not only put the city of Mount Clemens back on the map, but to demonstrate the talents, abilities, and the other ideas that we have as a community that will differentiate us from other communities. And with that, I again appreciate your time and the efforts that you've done in these difficult times. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike, can you give us your full name, your address, and abide by our 3-minute rule?
All right. Can you hear me? I just want
I
to make
sure
sure.
can.
Okay, great. I'm always having audio issues. My name is Mike Zubas. I live on 322 North Avenue, Apartment 1, and that's located in Mount Clemens, Michigan, of course. I will try my best to adhere by the 3-minute rule. I will start now. Good evening, esteemed commissioners of Mount Clemens. I want to talk today about Indigenous people and how it would be a good idea to declare a day in honor of their contributions to America. But first, we have to talk about Christopher Columbus and how history has 2 stories about him. The first story is about how he was a legend who discovered America and helped usher in the new era of exploration the world around. The second story I've heard is a darker tale, one of slavery, genocide, and other dark deeds that I will not go into detail now. But to hear the testimony of a priest from those times, I feel those stories must be discussed in another forum. What does that have to do with Indigenous people, one may ask? Well, I must say it's about recognizing the peoples affected by Columbus and the colonialism that he brought with him, in order to bring more unity between us as Americans and to the indigenous tribes that are around the state. In order to accomplish this task, I propose we enact an Indigenous Peoples Day in this city, either the day before or the day after Columbus Day. It will bring about the ability to hear the voices on argument about this, as the Columbus Day Parade brings the story to the people who believe this first story to be more true than the second. This is not the only community that has had this idea proposed and approved before. The cities of Seattle, Denver, Minneapolis, and Kalamazoo have all proposed and enacted Indigenous Peoples Day. And we even celebrate Michigan Indian Day on the 4th Friday of September every year, even if the wording is a bit outdated. Just about every tribe in the state has made a declaration, some even replacing Columbus Day with it. Even the National Congress of American Indians endorses the idea and has been proposing it for a while. The conclusion here is to make a day that we can have Indigenous people to be able to have a festival, I keep saying, an event where Indigenous people from around the state can come here and teach our youth about the differences and similarities between our 2 cultures, and just how it is a good thing to branch out and understand other peoples instead of fearing them. I would also like to ask the commission to look into Woodrow Wilson School and the street as well, as he fired every Black person in a high post in government as he was there when he was president. Oh, and he also had the KKK in the White House to watch a movie they made for him. Maybe rename it the Mount Clemens Gym and Rec Center, since it was pretty much used for basketball games during the winter and elections. Anyways, maybe repurpose it for the neighborhood to use more similar to the great work being done by Mr. Thomas Barnes and his associates at the Jermaine Jackson Center, keeping youth in positive activities. Please consider the ideas and have a nice day. And I yield back my time.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone else who would like to participate in public participation? Hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 7, administrative responses to issues or questions raised during previous meetings. Mr. Johnson.
There were no questions raised at the prior meeting.
That makes it easy. Moving on to agenda item 8, approval of minutes. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion to approve the minutes for Monday, July 20th, 2020 for the Mount Clemens City Commission meeting.
Thank you, Commissioner Hammond for the motion. Do I have a second?
Support.
Commissioner Campbell, support. Are there any questions, comments? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
yes,
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell.
Yes.
Moving on to general business, item A, approval of the soccer agreement. Could I have a motion, please?
I move to approve the agreement between the City of Mount Clemens and LK St. Clair Soccer Incorporated for the use of the soccer field in Memorial Park.
Commissioner Mentor moved. Could I have a second, please?
Support.
Was that Commissioner Hammond?
Campbell.
No, Ann Campbell. Okay, well, which one of you would like to support it?
Campbell.
Okay, Commissioner Campbell, thank you. Do we have any discussion, comments, questions?
I think, don't you have to have somebody read the,
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, thank you. Sorry about that. Jumping ahead. Yep, Commissioner, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, can you?
Yes. Jeff Wood has been working with Diane Banks at Advancing Macomb and the people from LK St. Clair Incorporated in regard to a grant that we've gotten that's enabled us to turn a former ball field into a soccer field. And he's worked with developing the contract, which has also been reviewed by the city attorney. I'll let Jeff speak.
Yeah, so before you is the agreement that we have worked on getting prepared. The LK St. Clair Soccer Club has approved that agreement, and we're in the process of constructing the soccer field. Hopefully everything is ready to go, and we'll be playing soccer on it this fall.
Okay, does anybody have any questions or comments?
and Jeff, does that include the lighting and the sprinkler system? That's part of the construction?
Not the lighting. We're working with Advancing Macomb, the soccer club, working on getting some other grants for lighting there. We are working on getting some quotes together, some ideas on the irrigation system.
Thank you.
This was another grant that Advancing Macomb was able to obtain, correct? With the soccer club, it's not something that the city necessarily went out for.
Correct. The Advancing Macomb and the soccer club did write this grant, and I believe it was a $10,000 grant that they received.
Okay, excellent. Does anyone have any further questions?
I think it's really a great thing to bring soccer to the city. It's becoming very, very popular. Detroit is considering a professional soccer league. And so I think this is a great opportunity for the kids and the residents of Mount Clemens.
I just also wanted to point out that LK St. Clair has been doing a great job with free soccer clinics throughout the city, and they're going to be having another one as well, which I will look up so that I have for my commissioner comments. But because I think it's next weekend, they're doing a really great job and providing the kids of Mount Clemens opportunities for recreation at zero cost at this point. So kudos to them. Anyone else? Okay, roll call, please.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes,
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fournier.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 9B, discuss ordinance 17.1 recreational equipment as requested by Commissioner Menzer and Voorhees. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve a amendment to ordinance 17.100 to allow recreational equipment 2 days before and 2 days after a planned trip.
Do I have any support?
Well, Mayor,
Okay,
Mayor?
yes.
I don't think that's on the agenda. And that's not the agenda item. The agenda item is to discuss the recreational equipment ordinance.
I can understand that, Mr. Murray, but every time I seem to have some kind of like open discussion like that, then I get told that we need a motion to have anything with the agenda.
No,
So
I think that
how do we move on this one?
the motion would be to discuss ordinance 17.100 recreational equipment
Okay,
and then discuss it. And if there were to be action taken, I would think the action would be taken at the subsequent meeting. You'd want, if there were changes, you would want an amended ordinance presented to the commission to vote on. And I think procedurally, that's the way it ought to be done.
wonderful. Okay. Commissioner Menzer, would you like to change your motion?
I will amend the motion to say, motion to discuss ordinance number 17.100.
Very good. Okay, and was it Commissioner Voorhees that?
Yes, I second it. Voorhees.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Obviously, Commissioner, City Manager Johnson, do you want to read what you have on the?
Well, you have the text that was provided by Commissioner Menzer and Commissioner Voorhees. We also provided you with the text of the existing ordinance and with the sections highlighted that would need to be altered if you wanted to move ahead on this.
Okay, what I looked at is, and this has come up before, while I've been on commission. Last month in our statistics, we had 8 residents that had camper, were cited for campers. And talking, there was, and it encompasses all areas of the city. It's Bain, Brightmeyer, Scott, 2 on Maross, 2 on Bellevue, and Lois Lane. That was just last month. So, in talking to one of the residents, I thought it would be a good thing to allow them an opportunity to park their camper in their driveway so that they could, and outside of the setback that's listed, in the ordinance, so that they could, clean the camper, load it with their personal belongings, load it with their food, then go on their trip and then come back and kind of do the reverse, unload all their personal stuff and then clean it and then go park it where they normally park it. I understand that that it may cause a little bit more work for the community development department, but I think that can be handled with a phone call. A resident can call in and say, hey, I'm going to go camping for Labor Day. I'm going to pull my camper in on September 1st, and I'm going to leave on September 3rd, and I'll be back, I don't know, the 9th, and I'll repark it in its appropriate spot on the 11th. It doesn't have to be anything, formal, as long as, that the blight control staff know that they have made these arrangements.
Okay, this is Laura. Given the number of people that have campers and recreational vehicles, if they all start calling in every time they use one, we'll need a full-time person just to track all this all summer. I think that the city, the community development department does a very good job right now of allowing people to do just what we've suggested. I mean, I know of many instances where that camper has been parked in a driveway while they get ready to go or when they come back. The problem is they end up staying there way beyond 2 days. So I know the community development director believes that the current ordinance provides enough for it. And I think we should respect his opinion and leave the ordinance as it is.
Well, I have gotten complaints from residents that they have been cited the day after they put their camper in their driveway to load it and unload it. So I think that, you know, this isn't that massive of a change that's going to cause a full-time staff person when I just said that there were 8 campers for the month. I don't think 8 campers causes a full-time staff position.
I don't think maybe you didn't realize what I meant though, because there's a lot of people in the city, more than 8, that have campers and recreational vehicles. And if they all have to call every time they go somewhere and when they come back, that is going to be much more than 8 and much bigger problem. And I believe if there's someone with a true complaint that they just got back and they were actually cited, then they should bring that forward to us. And I believe that Mr. Tingley would waive that citation, if you will. I don't think that that's his intent or the department's intent to penalize someone that just comes and goes when they're going camping or whatever. The problem is these recreational vehicles, and I can tell you about one right now that's on South Avenue that is on the street. So we have to have, you know, I think this is a logical, we have a good ordinance and we need to just leave it as is.
Are there any other comments or discussion?
Yeah, I have one.
Oh, go ahead. Yep, Mr. Campbell.
What does Mr. Tingley think about, what does he have to say about this? Since he'd be the one that's in charge of it.
He sent out, Mr. Johnson forwarded an email today to everyone with Mr. Tingley's opinion. And he strongly stated that he wishes that the ordinance would be left as is, and that he doesn't know how it would be enforced if we do this 2 days before and after.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
one minor point. The normal procedure is that a 10-day letter is sent on any of these blight violations, unless it's a real emergency situation. And the residents have 10 days to comply. So if 8 people had blight citations, then it must have been a little further down the line than the next day after bringing their vehicle or their boat to their driveway.
Thank you for that clarification. Is there any other additions to the discussion? Okay, do we want to take a vote on, I guess, what's our next step?
Well, your next step, if you do wish to proceed with this, would be to direct administration and the city attorney to prepare an amendment to the ordinance.
Well, it doesn't, I guess I need more input then from the other commissioners, because we don't really have a clear picture of where the commission would like to take this.
Mayor Crop, I think that the city works with the residents already by offering a warning, like city attorney had stated. So this is something that I think we should just leave as is.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Voorhees, I haven't heard from you yet.
Well, I know that Denise and I have had the discussion with several people in the area, and don't get me wrong, I had turned someone in that was over on Balmoral because the trailer had sat there for 3-4 months and finally has been moved off the lot. I was just, this is just in anticipation of people, it takes a day to load and a day to unload, and as long as they're not cited, I guess we're all right. But I would like to see it written, but if everybody's not in favor of that, then let's keep the ordinance the way it is, I guess.
Okay, and Commissioner Fournier, I'm assuming from your earlier comments, you feel the same?
I do.
Okay, and Commissioner Campbell?
If the community development director recommends keeping it the same, I guess he would know better than us, so follow his direction.
Okay, excellent. I too feel as though 8 violations within, the quarter, or even 30 days over the whole city, with lots of people who have campers, recreational vehicles, trailers, motorized homes. This encompasses a lot of things. So I think that is a lot of people within our community. And so I don't see this affecting that many people. And if you get your 10-day letter and it's been 1 day, please feel free to contact community development. And I think they'll be willing to work with you. So I would like to, at this point, support Mr. Tingley as well. So Commissioner Menser, I think at this point, we're gonna direct City Manager Johnson to just leave the ordinance as is at this point.
Yeah, understood.
Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 9C, purchase and payments of invoice.
Move to approve purchases and payment of invoices as presented.
Moved by Commissioner Campbell. Anybody for a second there? Sorry.
Support.
Commissioner Fournier, support. Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Roll call, please.
Mayor Crop,
Yes.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond.
Yes.
Moving on to agenda item 10, consent agenda. Could I have a motion, please?
Move to approve consent agenda as presented.
Moved by Commissioner Campbell,
Support.
support by Commissioner Fournier. And roll call, please.
Menser,
Yes.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop.
Yes. Agenda item 11, city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We've got a couple of new executive orders since the last time I talked. The most important one, actually there's two, 2020-160 and 2020-161, which amend the Safe Start order and issue revised workplace guidelines. Significantly now, statewide indoor gatherings will be limited to 10 people. Bars will be closed for indoor service across the state, even in regions 6 and 7. This order will also does require, and we did already, reclosing the ice arena, which had been allowed to reopen under a previous order. Also, a week ago, she signed Executive Order 2020-154, which extends our authorization to conduct public meetings remotely like we're doing this one. Up until now, she's always had a hard date included in the order for it to expire. It now remains in effect during any state of emergency or state of disaster arriving out of the COVID pandemic, and for 28 days thereafter, to the extent necessary to permit reliable scheduling of hearings and meetings. So until this is over, we're going to continue to have authority to meet remotely. Strategic planning meeting, as noted earlier, the first one was held on Friday, July 24th, and the second meeting is scheduled for August 7th, starting at 8:30 at the community center. This is the first one was an all-day meeting. The second one is a half-day meeting. It's going to be over with by noon. No regular business will be conducted. It's strictly dealing with strategic planning. And as I noted earlier, we're most likely only going to be bringing the city commission in for in-person. We'll probably be bringing staff and the public in it as a Zoom meeting. The bi-weekly ad for the notification system, click here, take you up to the sign up page. And then we have the upcoming meeting schedule. Thank you.
This is the second opportunity for the public to participate in our meeting. If you would like to do so, we ask that you give us your first name again, and we will create a list. Then when we call on you, we ask that you give us your full name. We ask that you give us your address, and you abide by our 2-minute rule on this participation. Is there anyone who would like to participate?
George Kale.
Okay, George, anyone else?
Mike Zubas again.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, go ahead, George.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'm just hoping that the strategic planning meeting, the second one that's coming up on the 7th, that the announcement will be on the city website for the link for the Zoom meeting, absent of course, any public participation directly at the community center. That would be greatly appreciated. And a follow through on the opportunity that we'd like to create with the City of Mount Clemens COVID-19 Economic Recovery Task Force. We will forward to the city appropriately our idea to take further action on the part of the city and the mayor and the city commission, and we appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, George. Mike, go ahead.
All right, before I begin, I need to have clarification though.
Can you just state your name for your and all that for the record?
I understand. Mike Zubas. I live at almost at my old address again. 322 North Avenue, apartment 1, and that's in Mount Clemens. Before I need to clarify though, would I be allowed to talk about a YouTube video that describes the library renovation thing? Or would that be violation of the city ordinance?
I believe that you cannot speak to anything on the ballot tomorrow. Mike,
yeah.
Can we?
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Well, I got another thing, more of an op-ed that I wrote just in case. If that's all right.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So here we go. I'm going to start now.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I am disappointed in the federal government. In a society with a sovereign currency, a fiat currency, a money system that can be summed up with money printer go brrr, has decided that a partisan attack against local and state governments in order to bankrupt them with the goal of massively selling off of the public entities to private companies is blatant proof that we are living in a failed state. They won't even help with the low levels of government in a time when the main source of income for most state and local coffers, sales tax, has dramatically been reduced, as online sales not only a fraction of the sales tax in-person sales does. The U.S. Conference of Mayors has called for $300 billion for local governments alone. Hopefully it'll be enough to keep cities from laying off people and the pension funds intact. Unfortunately, without federal action soon, a greater depression is coming, and this city needs to prepare in the next year's budget for the long haul. It seems everything that has been accomplished in the past decade will be wiped out, not by a virus, but the crappy response to it. I try not to be religious here, First Amendment and all, but I should finish with this. God help us all through the times to come. And that's, I will yield my time.
Thank you, Mike. Okay, we'll move on to commissioners' comments. We'll go ahead and start with Commissioner Voorhees.
Thank you, Mayor. Please fill out the 2020 census form. All of our federal and most state funding is based on the census numbers. Our representation in Congress and the state legislature is also based on the census numbers. It's my understanding that Mount Clemens is roughly at about 71%, but we need to do better than this. Tomorrow, Tuesday, August the 4th, is primary election day. This is a very important election for the city of Mount Clemens, for you will elect a member of the city commission to replace my late friend, Bill Sonny Ford. This past week, we witnessed the funeral of the late Congressman John Lewis, who took a police billy club to the back of the head for voting rights. Let's honor him by voting in this election tomorrow. With that, once a Clemite, always a Clemite.
Thank you. Commissioner Menzer.
I would like to give a shout out to Jaden Tillman. Jaden was a Mount Clemens High School 2020 graduate. He was number 4th in his class. He is headed to Indiana Tech on a track scholarship. I'd like to also recognize Stephanie Petty, a 2020 Mount Clemens High School graduate. After a brief pause, she will be attending nursing school at Oakland. And I'd like to mention Don Williams. The Mount Clemens Optimist Club was pleased to host a graduation party for Don Williams. Don is heading to Ferris on a full academic scholarship. And good things are happening in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Hammond.
Thank you. I would like to thank MECMED with LK St. Clair Soccer, along with Advanced Macomb and the others, including Thomas Burns, with the partnership for the soccer field. Also, tomorrow, Sports Port or YMCA, the YMCA Y on the Fly will be at Olson's Park from 5 to 7 tomorrow doing activities with the youth. And Wednesday, Sports Ports will be handing out an activity kit at the library from 5 to 7. And on Thursday, Y on the Fly with the YMCA will also be at Shadyside Park from 5 to 7. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Fournier.
Thank you. Today I am, all my thoughts are around my son and his wife. I became a grandmother for the 5th time. It was their first child. Jeff and Lauren Fournier live in Mount Clemens. They are part of our community. And Commissioner Voorhees, I was wondering, can they go back and amend their census now and put 3 people instead of 2?
Please
all
do.
People.
Yeah, please do.
But
and congratulations, Grandma.
Thank you. Thank you. Proud to be one. You know, but these 2 kids remind me and of all the young kids that are moving into the city and part of the city, and we need to do what we can to support them and try to keep our property taxes at a reasonable rate and provide the city services that will keep these kids here. And I would like an update at the next meeting or even on Friday of the sidewalk situation, because I want to push this baby in a stroller around and I don't want to have to go out in the street to do it. So with that though, please vote tomorrow. It's very important, especially for our commission. So it is, if you want your voice heard, this is your opportunity. With that, I thank you very much and have a great week.
Thank you. Commissioner Campbell.
Yes, I look forward to welcoming a new member to the commission tomorrow. And I also would like to thank Lisa and Kathy for all the hard work they've done in getting this election going in light of all the new restrictions and everything that's taking place. Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to add that the DDA is producing a new digital online newsletter, and they're encouraging, we're encouraging everyone to please sign up for that. And it just requires your name, address, and your email address. If you are interested in signing up for that, they have it on their DDA website, which there's a link on our website too. There's a link on our social media for it, the DDA's social media, and my mayor page as well. So lots of opportunities and easy ways to get on there and sign up for that. We're also very close to our 100-person sign up goal in 24 hours. So get on there and click away so that we can make our goal. I would like to mention why on the fly. Commissioner Hammond already gave you all the information about dates and things, but I just want to add that if you get a chance to drive by the park, if you don't have children, but if you get a chance to drive by one of the parks, that Why on the Fly is on Tuesday and Thursdays, Tuesday at Olson, Thursday at Wilson and Shady Side. It's just really great to see all these kids just come out of the woodwork, from out of their houses and just play. And that's what's happening in these parks. And the Y staff is incredible. They're doing such a great job with making every kid feel part of the group and really getting everybody moving and enjoying their time outdoors. And I think it's so needed at this time, but it's also so needed in our community. And it's such a great way to bring recreation to our community without any cost to our residents. So thank you to everyone who's involved in that. Thomas Barnes, Carl Hagee, Advancing Macomb, and LK St. Clair. We just really, I can't stress enough at how this is an opportunity for our kids to get to know each other. And those are the memories that create roots within our community. A lot of these kids don't go to school together. And so the meeting at the park will help sustain those memories and create commitment to Mount Clemens. LK St. Clair, I think you're doing a fantastic job, and I encourage you to keep at it in our community. I know it's not been the smoothest road, but thank you so much for choosing Mount Clemens and for wanting to be here. Neighbors Helping Neighbors did a great job. They worked their tails off in the rain. I've seen the pictures of all of the cleanup, and they just did a fantastic job. And at one point it was like torrential downpour on them. So kudos to Gina and everyone who is the Neighbors Helping Neighbors team. Tomorrow, of course, vote. As every other commissioner said, it's something that it's all of our responsibility as community members, each of us, to step up and to give our time tomorrow. Doesn't take long to go and vote. So it's such an important part of our society, and it's an important part of our commitment to our community. So please make sure that you go out there and there's plenty of stuff out there to read up on the candidates. So please take the time to do that. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Commissioner Voorhees with a motion.
Support.
I missed it, sorry.
Support.
Okay, Commissioner Hammond with the support. Roll call, please.
Voorhees,
Yes.
Campbell,
Yes.
Fournier,
Yes.
Hammond,
Yes.
Crop,
Yes,
and Menser.
Yes.
thank you. Everyone have a great night. We'll see you on Friday at our strategic planning. Take care.